In the red dust village of Oak, where the Irako trees whispered secrets older than memory, lived Madame Sapphira, the only teacher at the village primary school. She was tall, sharp-eyed, and known for her strict voice that could silence even the loudest child. Yet behind her starched wrapper and iron blouse was a hunger that went beyond the stomach. Madame Sapphira never brought food from home. Each morning, as the children opened their calabashes filled with yam porridge, egusi soup, or roasted corn, her eyes would roam like a hawk. "Children," she would say, tapping her ruler on the desk, "learning is hard work. A hungry teacher cannot teach well." The children would lower their heads, already knowing what would follow. Little Ao, whose widowed mother struggled to feed him, was the first victim. As he lifted his spoon, Madame Sapphira stopped him. "Ao, bring that food here. You are too small to finish it anyway." Her voice carried authority, and the boy obeyed, tears trembling in his eyes. She ate slowly, licking her fingers, while Ao watched his lunch disappear. The other children sat stiffly, fear knotting their stomachs tighter than hunger. In Oak, elders said, "The mouth that eats alone invites spirits to dine with it." But Madame Sapphira laughed at village sayings. Soon, taking food became her daily ritual. She tasted everyone's meal to check if it was healthy. Sometimes she ate from 3 bowls in one afternoon. "You children eat too much," she scolded, chewing noisily. "That is why your brains are slow." At home, parents noticed their children returning weak and quiet. "Mama," little Zainab whispered one evening, "teacher eats my rice." Her mother clenched her fists but sighed. "Education is power," she said softly. "Endure it." The market women began to murmur. "A teacher who eats children's food," one scoffed, grinding pepper. "That is not hunger, it is greed." Others warned that such acts disturbed ancestral balance. Old Baba Khalad, the village storyteller, shook his white head. "Greed blinds the eyes," he said by the fire. "When a person steals from children, the spirits take note." But Madame Sapphira paid no heed. She even began locking the classroom door during lunch so no child could hide their meal. One hot afternoon, as Madame Sapphira reached for Ngozi's calabash, it slipped and shattered on the floor. Palm oil splashed like blood across the earth. The children gasped. For a moment, Madame Sapphira froze. A strange chill passed through the room, though the sun burned fiercely outside. She felt a sharp pain in her stomach, like fingers twisting inside her. She ignored it, scolding the girl instead. "Clumsy child," she shouted, but her voice trembled. That night, Madame Sapphira cooked a large pot of food for herself. She ate and ate, yet her stomach growled louder. The more she swallowed, the emptier she felt. Sweat poured down her face. "Why am I still hungry?" she cried, clutching her belly. She drank water until her throat ached, but the hunger only deepened. Outside her window, an owl hooted, a bad omen in Oak. Sleep finally came, heavy and dark. In her dream, the classroom appeared, but the children had no faces. They held empty bowls and cried in unison. "Give us our food," they wailed. Then the bowls turned into mouths, chanting her name. Madame Sapphira woke screaming, her wrapper soaked in sweat. From that night on, sleep abandoned her, and hunger became her shadow. At school, she tried to eat again from the children's bowls. The first spoonful tasted bitter. The second turned to ash in her mouth. She spat it out, gagging. "What kind of nonsense is this?" she shouted. The children stared in silence. Little Ao whispered, "Maybe the spirits are angry." Madame Sapphira slapped her desk. Silence. Days passed, and her body grew weak. Her once proud posture bent. Her eyes sank into dark hollows. Yet the hunger never left. Even palm wine tasted like sand. The villagers watched her stagger through the market. Greed has started collecting its debt, one woman murmured. Dogs followed her, sniffing her clothes, as if she carried the scent of the unseen. Unable to bear it, Madame Sapphira visited Baba Kalad. The old man listened quietly, then sprinkled kola nut dust on the ground. "You have eaten what was not yours," he said. "Not once, but many times. Children are under ancestral protection." "What must I do?" she begged, kneeling. Baba Kalad's voice was firm. "Return what you took, not with food alone, but with humility." Madame Sapphira left angrily. "Old men and their stories," she muttered. "I will not beg children." But that night, the hunger grew unbearable. Her stomach swelled painfully. She screamed until neighbors rushed in. "Help me," she cried. But no medicine worked. Even the herbalist shook his head. "This sickness eats from the spirit," he said. One morning, while attempting to teach, Madame Sapphira collapsed. The children screamed. Chalk scattered like broken bones across the floor. As she lay there, she heard their whispers. "It is because she ate our food." For the first time, shame pierced her deeper than hunger. When she regained strength enough to speak, she stood before the class, tears falling freely. "Children," she said softly, "I wronged you. My greed blinded me." The room was silent. She bowed deeply. "Forgive me. I will never take what is not mine again." The air felt lighter, as if something unseen paused to listen. The next day, Madame Sapphira brought food, more than she had ever eaten. She shared it among the children, serving them with her own hands. "I was wrong," she said again and again. Some children hesitated, but hunger overcame fear. As they ate, Madame Sapphira felt, for the first time in months, a small easing in her belly. That night, she dreamed again. The faceless children now had smiling faces. They ate and laughed. One voice spoke. "Greed chained you. Humility freed you." She woke with tears, but also peace. The hunger had softened into a dull ache. Baba Kalad performed a cleansing ritual at dawn. He poured libation to the ancestors. "Let balance return," he prayed. As the sun rose, Madame Sapphira felt the hunger finally leave her body, like a departing storm. From that day, Madame Sapphira brought her own food, and extra for those who had none. She taught with patience, no longer with cruelty. The children noticed. "Teacher smiles now," Ao said one afternoon. "Yes," Ngozi replied, "greed has left her eyes." The village slowly forgave her. Parents nodded when she passed. Mothers sent food willingly this time, not from fear but trust. "People can change," Zainab's mother said. "But greed always demands payment." Years later, children gathered around Baba Kalad as he told the tale of the greedy teacher. "Remember," he said, "the food of a child carries tears. Whoever eats it unjustly eats a curse." The children listened wide-eyed, clutching their bowls. Madame Sapphira grew old, respected, and wise. Whenever she saw a hungry child, her heart remembered pain, and chose kindness. And so, in Alaoke, the elders still say, "Greed may fill the mouth, but it empties the soul."